did you have conversations about any of the issues that, we now even see in the writings that he had on him when he was arrested? I mean, did he talk about, not even as maybe as specific as health insurance, but capitalism, anything of that nature?
I apologize. I haven't read any of the media that's happened. I heard about it when a reporter called me.
Come on. Tell us he was radicalized by Carl.
What his writings were, but I know we talked about social
Come on,
issues,
give us
and
a
we
good
talked about
narrative.
how to improve the world.
Dumbass.
And we talked about,
The latest on this suspect on the run in the case of the murder right here in Midtown Manhattan of this healthcare CEO. We are told that they've got this guy. They're questioning him. It's about 270 miles from where we're sitting right now and about equal distance from where he murdered that healthcare CEO outside the Hilton here in Midtown Manhattan. Your thoughts as we learn more and see these brand new pictures, which as you were sitting down, we discussed. Some of these pictures, this looks like a completely different person. Is this the person?
Look, when you've got experts and facial recognition people and they say it's the same person, I agree. Yeah. Okay, it's not up to me as a layperson to make the assessment that an expert can. But the hairs on the back of my neck went up when they said that they found this person of interest in Pennsylvania. We were looking for Robert Durst, the serial murderer, and we found him in Pennsylvania. But I think that when you've got state, local, federal, NYPD is the best law enforcement agency in the country. I've always said that. But working together, they're going to find the guy. There is no question about it. They probably know who he is, and they're not going to do it and make the arrest until they've got everything they need.
It has the markings of this particular suspect, of somebody who wanted to leave a trail. You look at the markings on the shell casings. You look at what was left in this backpack that allegedly belongs to this person. Any of that send a message to you?
Oh, it absolutely does. There's a game going on here. I think that there is an undercurrent of something else, and I don't want to say yet, but I've got people who've contacted me and said there's more to this than you think. But then you've got this young guy who was dumb enough to flirt with a girl at the hostel and take his mask down.
Right.
I mean, that's like an amateur.
Wait. Oh, that's so perfect. I missed it. So there is vigilante justice that Judge Jeanine Pirro is against. Or is she also defending this guy as well? Because in both circumstances, I look to what is causing people to not necessarily just react, but also what's causing the problems to begin with. You know what I mean? I don't think this is a solution to America's healthcare problems, okay? Even though for a brief moment it did seem like a solution, at least with Blue Cross Blue Shield coming out and reversing their decision to limit how much anesthesia they'll cover. That was a very quick turnaround on that. They released the decision that they were no longer going to cover anesthesia beyond a certain point, and then this happened, and then the next day they were like, just kidding. Who said that? What? Not me. Not I. I would never. You can take as much anesthesia as you want, kings, okay? You can go under for days. I will protect you. I will never deny that. Not us. We would never do that, please. You know? But outside of that, this is not going to actually lead. This kind of action is not going to lead to long-standing changes. But having said that, however, now that the killer is packed up, they might go back to that. Now that the killer is packed up, they're like, oh, thank God, never mind. He's no longer at large. Actually, we're back. We're back on that anesthesia thing. Actually, Now that there is no imminent threat to the safety of our CEOs or our board of executives, I think we will go back to that decision on limiting the anesthesia coverage. Would not solve the problem. Because CEOs are still replaceable. They're endlessly replaceable. Dare I say, more replaceable than the average worker, in my opinion. Okay? What would actually solve the problem is legislative action that took place. You feel me? Anyway, let's get to the press conference. Oh, there's my goat, Josh Shapiro.
My name is Deputy Chief Derek Swope of the Altoona Police Department. Today we're going to go through an incident that occurred in the city of Altoona. This morning at approximately 9:14 a.m., Altoona police officers received a call of a suspicious male at a local restaurant. It was reported that the male matched the description of the United Healthcare murderer in New York City. When officers arrived, they made contact with the male who had a face mask on. That male was asked to remove his face mask, and officers immediately recognized him as a suspect in the New York City shooting in recent days. That male was asked for a form of...
If only Luigi was like the nephew of a prominent donor of Josh Shapiro, maybe Josh Shapiro would have very different opinions on the matter. You know what I'm saying?
And
maybe used a knife and was immediately related to the victim. They could pack it up as a suicide by knife to the back of the dome 32 fucking times.
Once he was taken into custody for that forgery charge, he was transported to the Altoona Police Department. Once at the Altoona Police Department, that male was searched instant to arrest. It was discovered they had a United States passport that identified him as Luigi Mangione. From there,
wow, he took a deep breath, not to fucking disrespect Italians there. I get it. I've been there.
There were also other items of evidentiary value that were located that would assist in this investigation. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Governor Shapiro for some words.
Is he going to do Obama voice? Is he going to do Obama voice? Check, quick.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Swope, and let me acknowledge and thank the law enforcement.
Damn, he's not doing it.
Joined with today, beginning with Lieutenant Colonel Bivens of the Pennsylvania State Police. I want to thank Senior Special Supervisory Agent Zabo from the FBI, and acknowledge NYPD Commissioner Daughtry and the women and men of the NYPD who join us here today. District Attorney Weeks, who you will hear from shortly. And I just concluded a briefing with Mayor Adams and Commissioner Tisch from New York. I want to begin by thanking our fellow Pennsylvania resident who acted as a hero today. Pennsylvania resident saw something early this morning at McDonald's and said something to our local police. Our local police here in Altoona acted swiftly. I want to say a special thanks to Officer Tyler Fry of the Altoona Police Department. Officer Fry is about 6 months into his time serving his fellow people here in Pennsylvania, and he acted swiftly. He acted with smarts.
That's a class traitor right there.
With calm.
You know,
safety often turns on the strength of the relationship between the community and law enforcement. We have that strong relationship here in Altoona, and it was proven here today. I want to ask all of our fellow Pennsylvanians to demonstrate the same type of thoughtfulness and courage and smarts as the individual at McDonald's did this morning, and help law enforcement here in Pennsylvania as we continue with our investigation. You'll see photos of the suspect who was here. And you should know that this suspect traveled between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, making stops in between, obviously here in Altoona. I want to ask all of our fellow Pennsylvanians to help us with any tips that they might have by contacting us at 800-4PA-TIPS. Again, that number is 800-4PA-TIPS. The suspect was just arraigned here in the courthouse, and presumably New York will file charges very, very soon. That process will continue to play out, and justice will be delivered in this case. This case is hinged on attention. In fact, the attention in this case and the killing of Brian Thompson was helpful, no doubt, in allowing us to capture this killer, in alerting that individual at McDonald's this morning, and then having that individual contact police. But some attention in this case, especially online, has been deeply disturbing, as some have looked to celebrate instead of condemning this killer. Brian Thompson was a father to two. He was a husband, and he was a friend to many. And yes, he was the CEO of a health insurance company. In America, we do not kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences or express a viewpoint. I understand people have real frustration with our healthcare system, and I have worked to address that throughout my career. But I have no tolerance, nor should anyone, for one man using an illegal ghost gun to murder someone.
He's like, he should have used a better weapon.
His opinion matters most. In a civil society, we are all less safe when ideologues engage in vigilante
Please do not use a ghost gun next time, is what Josh Shapiro is saying.
This killer is being hailed as a hero. Hear me on this. He is no hero. The real hero in this story is the person who called 911.
Good luck.
The real heroes every day in our society are the women and men who put on uniforms like these and go out in our communities.
Bro, you can't do these, you can't Aaron Sorkin-esque speech your way out of this, okay? Ain't nobody thinks that way.
Mr. Thompson, I understand, was laid to rest earlier today in Minnesota in a private setting. As the conversation continues about this case.
By the way, the Obama voice is coming out a little bit.
Not to dehumanize him and make him just an avatar of a system that is disliked by many. He was a father, he was a husband. He did not deserve to die like this on a sidewalk in New York City. I again want to thank all law enforcement that's present here this evening. Law enforcement works best when it works together. In this case, you have the New York Police Department working together with the Altoona Police Department, working together with our Pennsylvania State Police and our partners at the federal level as well. Everyone came together to solve this case and keep the public safe. I again want to ask my fellow Pennsylvanians, if you have any information regarding this suspect or his travels throughout Pennsylvania, please share those tips with us immediately. And with that, I want to thank District Attorney Weeks for his important work today and invite him to the microphone to say a few words.
No, he didn't. No, he did not.
I would echo the governor's sentiments. Law enforcement does work at its best when they work together. I'd also like to thank District Attorney Seidel. He and his staff came down from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office today in record time to assist us at the Altoona Police Department. And as the governor stated, the state police, the Altoona Police Department, the FBI, the New York City Police Department, Logan Township Police Department, the Blair County Sheriff's Department, and other agencies all work together today.
Bro,
to do what needs.
This could be perhaps the baldest police force I've ever encountered.
I not often brag about how the community in Blair County isn't afraid to say something, to report a crime, to contact local law enforcement.
That's crazy.
And I've often touted how they've made their community, whether it be Altoona or somewhere else, a safer place to live. And today I submit that a resident from Altoona and the Altoona Police Department helped make New York City a safer place to live and helped to kickstart the process to seek justice for a senseless killing. So again, I'd like to thank everybody, and it's my honor to introduce Deputy Commissioner Daugherty at this time.
Thank you, Mr. DA. On behalf of the New York City Mayor Eric Adams, my boss, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, want to extend once again your appreciation to the Altoona Police Department, to your leadership team, federal, state, local authorities, and especially to the customer at the McDonald's that seen something, said something, to the McDonald's employee that called 911 and reported this individual inside of their restaurant. The men and women behind me, detectives. Some of these detectives that are standing behind me haven't been home since Tuesday when this incident happened. They've been working this case tirelessly around the clock. And when they got that phone call, immediately they jumped in their car, in the police car, and raced down here to go see if this was the individual they were looking for. That's dedication. That's their commitment to bringing this individual to justice is just standing behind them. And on behalf of the mayor and the police commissioner, they extend their thanks and appreciation to you as well. Here's a message to the criminal element that they want to commit a crime in New York City and cross state lines, county lines. The message is very clear. Police Commissioner Tisch's police department will find you and bring you to justice. Just look behind you. Thank you.
I think with that, we are happy to try and take a few questions.
Governor, question, I guess maybe for the local law enforcement about the arrest specifically today. I don't know who that would be.
We'll refer to Altoona.
I guess I'm curious if we could hear a little bit more about the dynamics, if you could step to the podium, sir. We could hear a little bit more about the dynamics inside that McDonald's. I know there was some detail in the affidavit about what happened when the individual was asked if he'd been to New York. Could you speak a little bit to his demeanor and how that played out?
Sure. So it was a peaceful arrest, first and foremost. The officer quickly recognized the male as the suspect from the shooting. And within several seconds of the first contact, he had asked the suspect if he had been in New York City recently. And that really invoked a physical reaction from the suspect. He became visibly nervous, kind of shaking at that question. And he didn't really answer it directly. So that statement alone really said a lot. And the suspect didn't have to say a lot after that question.
The fucking vibe police, bro.
You know,
immediately, every man a cop. Okay.
The officer that the governor mentioned, who's new on the job, who was involved in that.
Yes, so Officer Fry's here to my left. Officer Fry can step this way a little bit, and then his partner that he was with, Officer Joe Detweiler.
Officer, could you?
You making minimum wage at McDonald's station on the assassin of an evil corporate CEO?
What played out?
Spell your name.
Yeah, Joel Fry, Tylerfrye. So whenever we got on scene there, we were able to pretty much find where he was at in the restaurant.
Did you know?
As soon as he was wearing a blue medical mask, as soon as we pulled that down, or we absolutely pulled it down, me and my partner and I recognized him.
I don't know where this photo came from, but it was a lie back then. He's gonna get 50K. Hard to say who wouldn't snitch in that situation. Yeah, I mean, this is how you get. This is how you create. This is how you create collaborators. Okay, class traders in general. Ironic because like post taxes, motherfucker's not even gonna be able to pay for his healthcare. You know what I'm saying? Also, this looks fake. What the fuck? Like, what are you going to do with the $50K? Maybe you'll be able to pay your medical debt, you know?
And where was he staying? And then was the gun on himself or was he in the car somewhere?
We are still investigating how long he's been in Altoona. There's still a lot of follow-up to do on this case. Again, the men and women behind me are assisting with that.
Can you
so
tell
we're
us?
still looking into it.
I'm going to ask Lieutenant Colonel Bivens of the Pennsylvania State Police to address the question you just raised.
So there are a lot of things that need to be followed up yet in this investigation. Certainly, there were a number of items that were found on his person, in his backpack.
They called 911, not Crime Stoppers, no reward? Wait, what?
We've begun to do an analysis of some of those. There were written documents.
What is happening?
There are electronic devices that are in the process of being downloaded. Search warrants are obtained. And so over the next hours and days, those efforts will continue. We're going to take a closer look at all of the information that we can glean from that regarding his activities up until and during the time of the homicide, his flight from New York, and we know that he has been in Pennsylvania, excuse me, for several days. And so,
bro snitched for free? That's crazy. That's crazy. They do not pay these rewards. They, like insurance companies, use every excuse not to pay.
That led us to more evidence. And so all of that is
That's crazy.
Kind of a mountain of evidence that has to be analyzed and looked at. I'm confident we'll have a much better idea of his activities over the past number of days in New York and in Pennsylvania. Additionally, we're also trying to determine that we don't have another actor or an accomplice out there. So this information will all be used to help us prove or disprove whether that exists and whether there were any other intended targets. So a lot of questions that are out there that are unanswered yet, but we have a lot of information that we can examine that hopefully will give us some of those pieces of data that we need. You asked, or someone asked about the interview. He was initially cooperative. He is not now. And so he has been arraigned and transported and will be securely housed pending the filing of additional charges in New York.
So you said he is an actual suspect in the governor, you mentioned that he was in Pittsburgh at some point. Is that correct? What
Yes.
did you know about that time in Pittsburgh?
Bill, we're not going to get into any more details at this time. We would like to hear from any Pennsylvanian or any Pittsburgher who had any sightings or any dealings with the individual. That's why I specifically asked for anyone with tips to share that.
But can you talk about the extradition to New York? How does that process work? I know that you have your case here, but what happens with the New York market?
And how long does it take?
Thank you.
So that answer depends. Once the charging documents are filed in the state of New York, we will file a fugitive justice complaint against the defendant. It'll be brought before a common pleas judge shortly thereafter, and the defendant will be presented with the option.
Free Luigi. School walkout tomorrow at 4 p.m. Free Luigi.
Additionally, of course, we'll make him available to NYPD and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office as soon as,
Free my boy
we're able to
Luigi.
arrange
School walkout.
his transportation there. If he contests it, that process typically takes between 30 and 45 days to do the requisite paperwork, but we do that all the time in our office, and that's kind of a normal procedure.
On the matter of the backpack itself right now, the backpack itself, you had the one that was in New York. Do we know if that's
School's already out at 4 p.m. That's a joke, chat. Shut up.
Or is this backpack that he had here one that he may have acquired? And the findings inside, the gun, the silencer, and cash, some foreign currency as well. Is that correct?
I'll defer to someone else. I'm not going to speculate on any of the interpretation of the evidence. I'm going to rely on the officers doing the investigation to complete that and reach their conclusions.
Can you say more about the
possible
motives in this case?
At this point, he is a suspect in the hit on the United CEO. Can we call him a suspect at this point? Obviously, he was arrested on other.
Yes, as we confirmed at his preliminary arraignment, with the permission of District Attorney Seidel, we expect charges to be filed forthwith, and obviously that I'm not going to speculate on that timing, but tonight or tomorrow or sometime in the very near future for homicide.
And sorry, Seth, can I just tell us,
In terms of the officers investigating this case, can you say any more about a suspected possible motive?
So at this point, we're not going to comment on that. I mentioned that there is a lot of information to go through. Certainly everything has been or will be shared with NYPD, but there is other information that really doesn't even pertain to that investigation. It, again, focuses more on his activities here in Pennsylvania and other travels. So all of that hopefully will shine more light on it. There is some information that gives us some insight into his thinking, but again, all part of the ongoing investigation. Way too early.
Can you say anything more about the document that was found, the handwritten document?
As far as the NYPD, we're not going to be commenting on the investigation steps here. For the next couple of days, there'll be immediate availability at One Police Plaza, and Commissioner Tisch will update. Commissioner Tisch and the Chief of Detectives, Joe Kinney, will update the media at One Police Plaza. But I will be happy to talk about that. The Commissioner Tisch and the New York City Mayor did FaceTime Officer Fry, and then thanked them for their service.
I'm not kidding. I think this is going to fucking break people's brains. I think people are going to start conspiring and saying that this guy was actually a patsy and that he's not the real guy. I see like world-changing events like this that cause a lot of people to pay attention to mainstream media narratives, oftentimes creating a lot of fissure, a lot of chaos, and a lot of disinformation. I suspect that people will say like he was a fall guy or a patsy. I'm sure there's people even in this community that have brain broken tendencies like that. On the other side, it won't help that the media narratives will, I suspect, move away from the actual points of radicalization, like a spinal surgery and it's the implications that it had, this like life-altering event for him, and will cover it as like a guy who went crazy. We don't know why, People are saying because he was found with everything, it's clearly a fake. No, I mean, I think that, I don't think that that is I don't think that that's I wouldn't say that in and of itself is indicative that it's like a fall guy or a patsy. I think that's just indicative of a guy who literally was able to pull off a hit in a very cool, calm, and collected way, but wasn't actually a hitter. You know what I mean? But as is the case usually, with these sorts of big events that a lot of people pay attention to, especially in this day and age when anyone and everyone can have an opinion and promote it and maybe even advocate for it as though it is like the legitimate point of view. A lot of people will find themselves victims of these false narratives, and it won't help if the media also moves away from the very real vectors of pain that people feel, that people experience on a daily basis, that they have ascribed as the motive, that they understood what the motive was. So we shall see. But I suspect that this will be yet another instance where people just like find themselves in the throes of misinformation.
No, not at this point. Again, I've spoken generally about what's there, but at this point, everything remains under investigation, and we'll have much more information, and New York will certainly have information for you in the future.
Can we just clarify, sir? Sorry, can we just clarify something?
No, the guy made a ghost gun, dished his most identifiable item backpack, kept the ghost gun, and sat in a public location with his written confession of waiting the cops. I mean, I don't know why he kept the weapon. Maybe he wanted to fucking pop more. Who knows?
Like I said before, we're going to provide an update in a couple of days by the police commissioner and the chief of detectives back at New York. I will say this though, if anybody out there that has any information that they think that will help this case, then please contact our tip line, which is 1-800-577-TIP. Remember, all calls are kept confidential.
And can we just
to
clarify
clarify,
something?
the customer spoke with the employee called 911.
That is my understanding.
Was it a customer that recognized the suspect first, told an employee, and the employee rang the police? Is that correct?
Yes, my understanding, I was just confirming, but my understanding is the employee became suspicious thought they recognized and wanted someone to check it out
Oh,
first.
because someone referred to a customer earlier, but there was...
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, did I say that? The customer recognized, notified the employee, and wanted someone to check it out.
So it was a crime.
He might have been a Cumtown fan. No shot.
I'm not familiar with the address of that. It's a McDonald's. Yes.
The suspect disputed the currency. Can you explain why there was a discrepancy or how much he was found to have?
Again, we're not going to talk about what was found in the bag. We have accurately cataloged everything that was in there, and that would be a matter for
DA Weeks, could you repeat what you said in court about that money?
I certainly stand by all the comments I made at the preliminary arraignment, but I'm not going to comment any more on the evidence at this time. My comments at preliminary arraignment were in support of my argument for bail. Thank you.
We probably have time for one or two more questions.
Is he being held in a county or state facility?
He will likely be taken to a state correctional institution later this evening.
Can you say specifically for Pennsylvania law enforcement, over the past few months, you've had the attempted assassination of former president, now president-elect. Now you've had this. What do you think about that?
Violence can never be used to address political differences or to address a substantive difference or to try and prove some ideological point. That is not what we do in a civilized society. That was true in Butler. It was true in New York City. And it's true anywhere. That is not how you make progress in this country. The suspect here who shot at that.
Yes, violence is never the answer, which is why I'm standing in front of a notoriously violent criminal gang of people that get away with doing said violence. But the state has the monopoly of that violence, so it's appropriate when they do it, when they dish that out.
Coming out of Pennsylvania, and it is one that I think the rest of the nation needs to hear as well. On a law enforcement side,
in
I
a
will tell
civilized
you that
society, if you're sick and you pay, sometimes thousands of dollars a month so that like this other pool of money can cover your insane medical expenses, you're supposed to sit aside, idly by, and just take it. You're supposed to take it. You're not supposed to do anything about it. Okay? It's just...
And that
please do
police
not
officer who's been on this job for 6
do not
months.
focus on the violence that is dished out by the systems on a daily fucking basis. Okay?
Coming out of Pennsylvania, that violence is not a way to answer questions and address problems, and that we have the gift of law enforcement here in this Commonwealth who care deeply about the safety and well-being of our fellow Pennsylvanians and our fellow Americans, and I commend them for that.
Thank you all. You're right.
Oh, Andrew changed his name to Andrew Episode 1.
Am I missing the AirPods?
Wait, what is this? Oh my God, the Playboy Cardi subreddit is about to go wild. The United Healthcare assassin was seen throwing up Playboy Cardi's YVL sign in old photo. Dude. The opium heads are so funny. They are worse than LeBron stands, dude. They somehow find a way to turn everything into vamp life. Like, no matter what it is. I think it is important to acknowledge that a press conference about a killer, okay, not my understanding of the matter, but like I'm speaking as though I am, a institutionalist. A press conference of a killer, right, actually featured so much commentary from the likes of Josh Shapiro, the governor of the beautiful state of Pennsylvania, about the motivations and how, please don't do more of this. Like, as though they understand. Sorry, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I know I made a egregious error here. I find it quite interesting that they spent a decent amount of time being like, violence is never the answer, and we see you, we hear you. It seems like a lot of people are frustrated about healthcare. Please do not do something. Please do not make, please do not repeat the actions of this guy.
Shaking. And they said at that point that was all they needed to know.
Seemingly
at
unique.
this point, no.
Seemingly a unique approach. They didn't just turn around and go, "Hey, this guy's a real piece of shit." Chuck dies. Thank you for the 25. Get the subs. Hype train level 2.
You can imagine, obviously, the cameras and the lights and all of the press and everything there as you saw him. What was his demeanor like, and what is the very latest that you know here coming out of this important press conference?
Sure thing, Aaron. Well, yeah, I'll say just about an hour ago, I was there inside that courthouse watching as Luigi Mangione walked right past myself and a number of other reporters. He was wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans. He was, of course, handcuffed. And he looked, even in this court appearance, visibly distressed, but he kept his brow furrowed through the duration of this arraignment hearing. And I should say what was interesting, though, Aaron, is you said we haven't heard a statement from the suspect. He did actually speak inside of that courtroom to the judge and to all the folks who were in there. But it was on very selective issues, and I'll just kind of go through what we heard. The judge asked Luigi Mangione a number of questions, first about his identity. So Mr. Mangione confirmed that that is his real name. He initially said that his residence was in Maryland, but then the judge actually pressed him on that. And then he said, actually, I have lived at various addresses before then ultimately giving an address in Honolulu, Hawaii. Then he also said that he's worked for 3 years as a data engineer up until about a year ago.
Yeah, by the way, they're review bombing the McDonald's where the healthcare assassin was snitched on. Oh, man, people are mad, dude.
After the conversation about bail.
This is one of the first times where I'm seeing like so much motion in a way that Americans don't normally operate, okay?
From New York City is one of the major reasons. But they also said that prosecutors noted that they found him with $8,000 in U.S. cash, $2,000 in foreign currency, his passport, and also a Faraday bag, which is basically a bag designed to stop transmission of cell service or other sort of things like that. At the end of his speech, the prosecutor's speech, Luigi Mangione said, I actually want to address two of the things that you said. He said, I don't know where that money came from. I'm not sure if it was planted. And then he also said that that bag was waterproof. And the term that the prosecutors used when discussing the Faraday bag, the ghost guns, the 3D printed silencer, was the prosecutors used a phrase saying this is criminal sophistication. Luigi Mangione said, I don't know about any of this criminal sophistication when addressing that. But it's just interesting, Aaron, that of all of the things that were mentioned in that court appearance, the two that he noted or took issue with was the currency and then that bag. Aaron?
Quite fascinating, especially insofar as we know that the backpack found in Central Park had Monopoly money in it. All right, Danny, thank you very much. Danny, as we said just an hour ago, was there as Luigi Mangione walked by for his arraignment in Pennsylvania. All right, everyone's here with me here to talk about Danny's reporting and what he saw, as well as what we just heard from NYPD, Pennsylvania, state law enforcement, governor of Pennsylvania. So, John, what stands out to you from all of these details? Obviously, he did have a manifesto on him, but they're being quiet on motive, quiet on how he got to Altoona, quiet on how long he was there, although it was days. But there is a lot of information in here. What stands out to you?
Well, so many things, but so much that we just discussed. So let's talk about the things we didn't touch on, which is, George Bivens, the lieutenant colonel of the state police, who we know well on this show because he's involved in all the major incidents there, talks about he traveled around the state for several days, presumably since his escape from New York City after the shooting last Wednesday, and has been traveling between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and places in between, which is not a short distance. So we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. Is he beginning to effectuate a second stage of his plan where he's going to go on the run? Is he Is he planning to figure out how can I now get involved in international travel with his foreign currency and his passport? Or as an individual who's carrying a manifesto that says, you know, in the plural, that these parasites, you know, must be killed and
Right.
things
And
like
it was.
that.
These parasites must be killed. Parasites, plural.
You know, he is armed with a weapon and ammunition and cash. So was he going to do another job, hit another person, perhaps another executive from the healthcare field or another field in his kind of anti-capitalist, anti-profiteer genre?
They're presenting him as
they
a
dodged
fucking
a bullet by finding him
socialist.
because of this publicity and that alert employee and customer.
Perhaps quite literally so. Kirk, when we hear that, right, 3D printed gun, ammunition, loaded Glock magazine, as well as 6.9 millimeter full jacketed rounds found. When you think about the ammunition that he used prior, when you hear what John's saying and what we see in this, does it seem to you that perhaps he was preparing for another one?
I think so. I think John hit the nail on the head here. In particular, hearing about the cash, that's a fairly large amount of cash somebody can survive on for some time, and the Faraday bag. So it seems that he was not prepared to return to a particular location, but to move around. When I first heard about the weapon, I thought perhaps he retained the gun in order to elude capture and perhaps battle it out with the police.
Right, if police arrest him, he has it to shoot back.
Yes, but clearly he wasn't prepared to do so when these police officers approached him because he knew who they were. He could see them coming. And also he didn't have the gun on his person. So it does sound like he...
Why are you laughing? That will only hurt us. I'm not gonna begin to even stress how much positive motion that this shooter has in the hearts and minds of regular Americans. I think you're wrong. Okay. I'm laughing because it's just not real. It's not correct. I don't think he is a card carrying anti-capitalist or anything like that. I think the reason why they're doing it matters. The reason why they're doing this, I think, is important. I think that the reason why they're doing this is to present him as an enemy of the state. And they're utilizing like old rhetorical tricks. Americans hate socialism, capitalism, anti-capitalism. So they're just being like, oh, he's an anti-capitalist terrorist.
Like that's really part of what he intended to do, is to continue on with the shoot.
You're laughing. A CEO got whacked by a tight, fit-looking centrist, and you're laughing. I don't care if they fucking present him as a socialist hero or some shit. Okay?
All right. All of you stay with me. We, of course, just everyone know our coverage will continue through the evening. Laura Coates has a special report as well tonight at 11 o'clock. You heard just a moment ago, though, they mentioned that he had been in Honolulu, that was an address, Honolulu, where he had been living. Well, we have been able to track down the person with whom he was living in Honolulu. A friend of Luigi Mangione lived with him, is going to talk about what they talked about, how they spent their time, and also about how he complained about chronic back pain. So that interview is after this. And then let me just show you this here. We'll have more on it. The gun found on the site.
Wait, that's not a ghost
gun put together with 3D printed parts.
It is?
So was this the same gun used in the CEO assassination?
That doesn't look like the gun.
And tonight, the Middle East in complete disarray. Syria now in the hands of rebels. Bashar al-Assad and his family, though, tonight are in Moscow.
Dude, Assad's car collection is so weak, by the way. Like, what a disappointing car collection he has. He had like one cool old Ferrari in the bunch. It was kind of shocking. Like, no taste, no riz. Half of his cars in the car collection are like fucking Toyota FXs or whatever. It is kind of wild how weak his car collection is for being such a long-standing regime enjoyer. He has a Ferrari F40. That's legit elite. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had like one. Dude, the average fucking oil sheik in one of the many different Gulf client states has like cars that they've forgotten about in their collection that would make you look at Bashar al-Assad's fucking Toyota, his entire fucking room full of Toyotas as a joke. FJ Cruisers are literally gold bricks. He has so many FJ Cruisers. It's kind of crazy. It's like I said, it's just kind of shocking. Isn't Syria better under Assad? America certainly wanted him gone. Okay, I do not like Bashar al-Assad, and no, I don't think he was a competent leader. Okay, only time will tell what happens to Syria. It can, it can move in a positive direction, but that's less likely than that's less likely than what will most likely happen. But no, he was not a he was not even remotely good at keeping things together. Thanks for signing my copy of the Communist Manifesto. A boss says was a great talk. Oh yeah, hell yeah. I think because of the embargo, my dad was told to bring in Maybachs for Saddam's sons, but the embargo made it difficult. I thought about what you said yesterday and I have the same fear now. I mean, I think it's a reasonable and healthy fear to have, especially considering like who are the power players here. But, Assad is far from a good guy. I mean, he is in the same vein as Saddam, but even worse. And it's not like Saddam was a good guy either. Ancient Rome. Oh, this is the thing that he retweeted. Luigi Mangione. Oh, we're going to do another deeper dive into Luigi Mangione's background. Sprawling family found success after patriarch's rise. Nick Mangione Sr. had a ready retort when people questioned how he had purchased a high-profile local country club in the 1970s. They asked me what my family I belonged to. I told them I belonged to the Mangione family. The Mangione family of Baltimore County, he told the Baltimore Sun in 1995. The patriarch of a sprawling Italian-American family who died in 2008 was a self-made multimillionaire real estate developer who owned country clubs, nursing homes, and radio stations while supporting an array of civic causes. His descendants, he and his wife Mary, had 10 children, went on to be successful in their own right, including excelling in athletics at Loyola University and taking over the family business, while a grandchild is a state delegate. One of his 37 grandchildren is now a person of interest in the shocking killing of Manhattan United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. I will say, it seems like, this is a family of go-getters. They are upstarts, and they are, it seems like they are, they seize on opportunities. It seems like they see something and they take it. If that makes sense. Yeah, real movers and shakers, okay? His descendants, he and his wife Mary, had 10 children, okay? Luigi Mangione, 26-year-old, whose father led the Mangione family enterprises, was himself off to a prominent start, valedictorian at the Gilman School, which is, from what I understand, a Baltimore private school that's like relatively expensive. A graduate of UPenn and an early career data engineer. Luigi Mangione was taken into custody for questioning Monday after being recognized at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, police said. Thompson's killer allegedly wrote, "Deny, defend, depose" on bullet cases, recorded reports, and when Mangione was detained, the NYPD said in a press briefing that he had handwritten manifesto denouncing healthcare companies. Yet the Mangiones have a long history of supporting local healthcare companies in Baltimore. For decades, the Mangione family has been a cornerstone supporter of the Greater Baltimore Medical Center, contributing to more than $1 million to the hospital starting in 1983. Every one of the family's grandchildren, including Luigi Mangione, was born at GBMC, a tradition so ingrained that, as one family member noted in a hospital blog post, it becomes subconscious. Delivering at GBMC is not even a thought. In recognition of their enduring support, the hospital's high-risk obstetrics unit bears the Mangione name. God damn. Yeah, we need to... Oh, seeing an interview with Luigi's close friend is live right now? Okay, let's get to it.
So when did you meet him?
Well, actually, we have an interview process because when you throw a bunch of people living together, you need to hopefully make sure they work well. And I interviewed him before he moved in. He works in tech. He has a remote position. He was looking forward to living in Hawaii and being healthy. He was excited about getting to meet new people, experiencing new culture.
And did he, all right, so I know this was back in around 2022, so you're coming out of COVID. I'm curious, RJ, did you know where he was working remotely or why he had suddenly decided to decamp to Honolulu? Was there sort of any break in his life or anything that you ever became aware of?
No. It's very natural. Our members all have remote jobs, and Hawaii is one of those places that many people would love to live. So we provide kind of an all-inclusive living experience, so it makes it easy for them to move to the islands.
Okay, so I know you considered him, from your interactions with him, the time you spent together, as someone who would be a lifelong friend. What was he like when you knew him? And I know you've shared some pictures with us as well. I mean, in terms of how social he was and the sort of interactions that he would have had with the other people in your co-living community.
He was a very thoughtful person, communicated really well, was friendly, had good relationships with everyone. He was even, in some ways, a bit of a leader. He helped spearhead a book club that we started just so we could, keep those intellectual pursuits alive from back when we were in school.
So you mentioned that he was into health. How did that manifest himself? And you mentioned you went hiking together, things like that. Can you tell us more about that? Why he cared about health? And I understand also that at one point you did become aware of some issues with his back.
Yeah, so when I first interviewed him before he moved in, I remember he said he had a back issue and he was hoping to get stronger in Hawaii. So he's always focused on trying. When he first came, he went on a surf lesson with other members, and unfortunately, just a basic surf lesson, he was in bed for about a week. We had to get a different bed for him that was more firm, and I know it was really traumatic and difficult. When you're in your early 20s and you can't, do some basic things, it can be really, really difficult.
Did he have any conversations with you then or even afterwards about that issue? And I mean, his back, how he hurt it? I mean, obviously anything to do with the insurance process of it?
The only thing he ever mentioned, he mentioned, I need to go back to see my doctor and then I'm going to have surgery. I encouraged him and brought him to yoga classes. He would do calisthenics on his own. I know he was really focused on being strong and healthy, but it also weighed on him that he knew that there was an impending surgery.
So did you, in the context of all the books that you were reading and the book club that he was leading, did you have conversations about any of the issues that, we now even see in the writings that he had on him when he was arrested? I mean, did he talk about, not even as maybe as specific as health insurance, but capitalism, anything of that nature?
I apologize. I haven't read any of the media that's happened. I heard about it when a reporter called me.
Come on. Tell us he was radicalized by Carl.
What his writings were, but I know we talked about social issues.
Come on, give us a good narrative.
How to improve the world.
Dumbass.
And we talked about, issues that are, say with capitalism or with the healthcare system or with housing or the food systems. It wasn't, anything specific. It wasn't like he had an axe to grind or he was even upset or angry about a particular issue. They were just natural intellectual conversations that you have when you're inquisitive.
So you stayed in touch with him. I know you spoke to him earlier this year, although I understand, RJ, that you tried to reach out to him multiple times even since then, but that he had not responded in those cases. Can you tell me about your last conversation with him?
Mostly just text messages. So I knew he was going to have a surgery. So earlier this year, I checked in with him. He confirmed that he had surgery, and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine. After that, he called me once. I didn't pick up. We kind of texted a little bit, but unfortunately, I feel terrible now. I wish, I would have made more of an effort to communicate with him.
Did you ever have any conversation with him where he brought up anything like guns or anything in that area?
Dude, it is crazy. He looks like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Mangione looks like fucking Dave Franco.
He was absolutely
they all look like
person. As far as I could tell.
Fucked up versions of actors.
So RJ, in all of this, as you're just struggling to get your head around what happened here with someone, that you had considered would be a lifelong friend. And I know you've only had a few hours to even try to comprehend it. But just in these initial hours, do you have any idea why or how someone that you knew
natty, Chad.
in the way you knew him
He's a natty baddie.
Done this?
Personally, I can make zero sense of it. There's never justification for violence. We live in a democratic system with processes and procedures to address, our issues. And I can make no sense of it.
Well, RJ, I appreciate your taking the time to share all this with us. I know you're in shock about what happened.
Still natty because the TRT claim was denied by his HMO.
And trying to help everyone understand a little bit more here about this, what happened. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Lived up friend.
Well, now you listen to RJ talking about the person that he had considered a very close friend, Luigi Mangione. I want to show you the gun that Mangione had on him when he was arrested today. Okay, so this is what was found in his backpack. So let's just hold it up here. We'll tell you what you know about it. We know that police say that gun was made on a 3D printer, that it also had a suppressor.
Meat pics leaked, so be careful. I doubt it. Those aren't real meat pics, dude. That's insane. Everybody shut up.
9mm full metal jacketed rounds. Out front now, our security correspondent, Josh Campbell, former FBI. And Josh, the suspect today was arrested with this made on a 3D printer. We do know that he had an undergraduate degree as well as a master's degree. That doesn't look like a 3D printed gun. I'm not gonna, engineering, AI.
Those guns look exactly like normal guns. It's just the lower is it's like a 80% finished lower that you're supposed to like you can purchase the lower and then 3D print the rest of it. That's what a ghost gun is. That way it doesn't have a serial number.
A lot of these gun parts you can buy online and essentially assemble them yourself. And of course, the big concern, they don't come with serial numbers. That makes it difficult for law enforcement to trace, and they don't require background checks.
But it just doesn't look like the same gun.
Has recently tried to increase penalties and stop the distribution of some of these types of guns. Of course, someone intent on causing a homicide is probably not going to be, worried about serial number violations. But the key question now is tying that gun to that crime scene. And here's how it's done. I went inside an ATF laboratory, which showed how this forensic
I know.
testing
You're 3D printing the lower and buying the upper part. 3D printing guns have come a long way, and they look amazing now. I've shot 3D printed guns. I know. It just doesn't look like the same gun from the CCTV footage. That's what I'm saying. It looks like a regular standard Glock, which you can definitely you can definitely make with a 3D printer.
Similar characteristic to the shell casings found at the crime scene.
All right, Josh, thank you very much. I want to bring in firearms expert Steve Wolf. So, Steve, we've got a picture of the ghost gun found in the shooting. Was found on the suspect. I'm sorry. So this is what he had, and I just want to note here: you've got a gun. And you have a silencer, they say, on a 3D printed machine. But I just want to emphasize one other thing that I had said.
All you need to do is drill the holes for the push pins that hold the internal mechanisms of the lower. The upper is the Glock
full
part.
Metal jacketed rounds. Now, John Miller was just discussing that he thought that could mean, and very much would leave open the possibility, that Luigi Mangione was intending to continue and perhaps assassinate somebody else. What stands out to you about all of this?
Well, I think if he used the ammo that he needed in New York and he had extra, that doesn't necessarily indicate he was going.
Ghost guns are ghost guns are protected under like I think a blacksmithing provision or something. It's not even just like the Second Amendment. Oh, what the fuck? He pulled out the
This is
blicky.
very similar to the
Yo!
B&T, and you see this is round over here, and this slide pulls back. If you take a close look at the slide on that, you'll see it looks nothing like the slide on the 3D printed gun, which is got a square slide,
Yo, he pulled out
extends
double
back
blicky.
and holds itself
He's
open.
double blicked
So
up.
there's really no comparison in my mind that the B&T Station 6 that was claimed to be the gun used is the same gun that was in his backpack.
So you think it's possible that that it had been described as sort of a veterinary gun, that may indeed be the gun still that he used in the shooting in Midtown Manhattan, maybe he disposed of it. I know they've been dredging waters in Central Park, but that this would be separate. That the gun that was today was a different gun.
That's my belief based on what I've seen of the guns, yes. The gun that was recovered on him today doesn't look anything like a B&T Station 6, which is the gun that they said was used in the murder.
I'm curious because people have been talking about his background, his technology, engineering degrees. Would that make it easier, as you see it, for someone who, at this point, we don't know whether he had shooting range experience or anything like that, although we've heard nothing about that to this point. Would it be easier for someone with that kind of just general background to be able to print a gun like this and actually use it successfully to kill somebody?
Well, the B&T wasn't printed. The gun that was
Wait,
that
he
was
did
found
not
with
shit
today
on
is the
Matty
one that had a
Glacius.
printed
No
frame.
way. That's
Most of
too
those
good.
parts, though, are not printed. They're metal. So we're just talking about the plastic frame, which not a huge consequence as a function of the gun in total.
All right. Well, Steve, I appreciate your time, and thank you very much for explaining some of this. Thank you.
Absolutely, Aaron. Thank you.
All right. I'm glad to talk to you. And next, the crisis going on.
Yeah, it wasn't just me. The gun expert that had not one but two blickies said that it doesn't look like the same gun. So what's up? Okay, I do want to go really quickly to Fox News and their commentary on this because they're losing their fucking minds. It seems Laura Ingraham is very upset. Very, very upset at the way that Luigi's actions are being received by the broader American public.
Dig into it later. The Instagram posts from nutbag people, which I was sent in the commercial break earlier.
The Instagram posts I've seen from nutbag people. CEO slaying suspect. Bro, they just keep making him. If their goal is to make this guy look bad and look crazy, I feel like they're doing a bad job at it. Okay, explain this. Oh, oh, Your Honor, this is from the latest episode of the Fear End podcast.
Crazy. Like, he's cute, he's and people celebrating this. This is a sickness. Honestly, it's so disappointing, but I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And up next, the other big news out of New York, Daniel Penny. A lot of people think he's a hero, and tonight he's not guilty. My take.
Wait, not even a shred of irony. I like that they do basically what I do, but the opposite, where I always will be like, there's a difference between good things and bad things, guys. Okay. Like, there's a difference between someone with an understandable position, an understandable point of radicalization, or like someone who's like addressing, you might not appreciate the methods there, and I understand that, but like, she literally is basically saying like, no, when you kill a homeless person, that's fucking awesome. When you kill a CEO, how dare people celebrate this? Without even a shred of irony. I believe both of these problems require not vigilante justice, but actual, legislative changes. I believe that we need broad, sweeping legislative changes that will make sure that people are no longer hurting. Okay? When you murder a homeless person, they let you go. When you kill a CEO, they launch a nationwide manhunt. It's kind of crazy. This is almost a similar instance to like, America's reception and the American government's attitude towards the ICC and international courts of international organs of justice. and the way that they've collaborated and cooperated with the ICC in the process after Russia's unjustifiable invasion of Ukraine versus the way that they're operating for the past year and their reception and their attitude and resentment, dare I say, towards those very same instruments of justice when they're telling America that they might be in the wrong for their unconditional loyalty and support to Israel. It's like having these two situations. It's wild. I know. I have a mic mute situation. I know. It's just fine. It's not that fucked. I fixed it. The mic wire is cooked, but I fixed it. Kaya is drinking water. She's fine. All right. Ken Klippenstein found Luigi's resume, but there isn't anything that we have seen on there that is different than what we knew already. Oh, all right. Interesting that this is the Ingram angle. Also, I don't think that Luigi wrote that. Manifesto found Luigi Mangione. Mangione mentions United Healthcare by name, noting the size of the company and how much money it makes, according to a senior law enforcement official who saw the document. The manifesto also broadly condemns healthcare companies for placing profits over care, the official said. I think it's going to be really funny when people realize that his attitude is also similar to that deny, defend, depose book, where it's like, I'm not against profit making. I just think these big healthcare companies are going a little too far with their profit-seeking attitudes. Because like that book that people were talking about, Delay, Deny, Depose, that book literally does not have an issue with, as far as I understand, it doesn't have an issue with profit in the healthcare sector. It just has an issue with like the practices and how much they deny. They deny too much. You know? Mangione hails from an influential real estate family in a Baltimore metropolitan area. We already talked about it. That traces their lineage to Sicily. His eyebrows already told me that. His grandfather, Nick Mangione Sr., and grandmother, Mary C. Mangione, purchased Turf Valley Country Club in Ellicott City. It's almost here. It's a minute away. Conservatives are trying desperately to claim that his anger at the absurdity of health insurance companies is more deranged than the absurdity of health insurance companies themselves, and they're failing miserably because they misread the American people. Yeah. The Mangione family also founded the nursing home company Lorien Health Services, which he worked at, by the way. The family business also included ownership of the radio station WCBM AM, which airs politically conservative programs. Mangione's cousin, Nino Mangione, is a Republican state delegate who hosts a show on WCBM. He did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Goes to show, once again, that it literally does not matter what your family's political background is, how wealthy you are. Healthcare can still cook you. I don't think you can go and shoot someone if you think they just need to reduce the cases they deny. I think you have to hate the industry severely. No, I agree. I just think I'm saying that it'll be funny to, what is this? That's weird. He isn't anti-capitalistic. It's just weird to have so much privilege and throw it away for a pop shot of the CEO. Like, I get it. And I'm, what? What do you mean? That's the point. The point is, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are. It doesn't, this is not like a card carrying communist. Okay. I don't think this is the case. I think this is a person, regardless of like how wealthy he is or how wealthy his family is, experience, it seems, as far as all we know, but this is still pure speculation. But as far as we understand, as far as we know, it seems like, he was a victim to the profit-seeking ways in which the American for-profit healthcare insurance system works. That's it. Anyway. You can be rich and still be fucked over by the American for-profit healthcare industry. That's my point. This is the most bog standard rich family in America. It's probably not possibly more privileged than he was. Crazy that he's the shooter, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's just how fucking shitty healthcare is. Honestly, that's what I think. Like, I think you can have a job, you can go to UPenn, you can be a valedictorian, come from a rich ass family, and still be fucked over by healthcare. Do you understand? Also, Elon Musk, Mr. Free Speech, took down the now increasingly popular Twitter account of Luigi Mangione, which is very odd. Perhaps, maybe free speech is not alive and well on X, the everything app. Oh, he reinstated it? Thank God. Still, wait, what? I can't find it, though. Why can't I find the account? All right, 200,000 followers. Myself being one of them. God, I really wish we could see his likes, man. Cutie needs to see this. He's a Swiftie. New photo uncovered. Luigi Mangione updates. Luigi craved. The pop that Luigi craves. New photo uncovered of Luigi Mangione at Miami N3 of the Eras Tour. Wait, is this actually from the Eras Tour? How long do you think he'll spend in prison? Who knows? Dude, it's already started. They're saying he's not the guy. 26,000 likes. I just don't think that he fits the profile of a fall guy or a patsy. You know what I mean? You're basically doing the we should support Gregor Strasser because he's an anti-capitalist and asking for red-brown collaboration. I already gave a Woke of the Day award to someone else, so I'm just going to ban you for a week. There's no indication that this person is a fascist, ideologically or otherwise. Okay? You're genuinely a mentally unwell person if that's your immediate assertion. The closest we can arrive at is maybe his like retweeting of Peter Thiel. But even then, I think a lot of people just like genuinely cannot comprehend that Americans never actually fit a perfect mold. Not that it matters, because his actions, or the reception towards his actions, are what matters here, and not necessarily his own personal aspirations, his own personal ideology. No, I already covered the modern Japanese thing. He wants to ban pocket pussies to fix to fix the Japanese birth rate problem. And also on top of that, yes, I know, on his Goodreads, one of the books that he wanted to read was Mein Kampf. I know. I think he's a regular STEM bro who is really into podcasts. He doesn't have to have your politics. That has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know if he wanted to read the book while shaking his head like this. You don't know. Just so everybody knows. Could be a Harlan Crow style situation. I still don't understand what the fuck he was doing with the gun still. And I get why people think the guy on the left isn't him, but you can't really tell from this blurry ass photo in general. And if he was set up to be a patsy, I don't think he fits the profile of someone who could be set up as a patsy. Wealthy, white, upper middle class, rich, not even upper middle class, like super rich fucking family. I don't know. Usually patsies are at least people that are malleable, people that are easy to fit into a certain mold. Having someone having someone with a lot of footprint like this, who's like not a shut-in and is a relative normie, I think it makes it quite difficult to use as the fall guy. You have to admit it's a little weird. This dude is a dude this intellectually curious never stumbled across any videos about not talking to the police or Fifth Amendment rights. Yeah, the fact that he like started leaking details immediately to the cops, I guess that fits the profile of someone who thinks they can outsmart the police, which is a very dumb thing to do. You know what I mean? Billionaires are making people do loyalty pledges. Wait, what? Safety and solidarity pledge. Insert your name here. I pledge to uphold the safety and well-being of my colleagues and the family as a whole. Wait, what is this? I don't know what this is. It's probably fake. There's a lot of fake shit that people send. I don't know if it's real or not. I am a hashtag Luigi Truther. The reason it took so long to catch him was because they never found him. Luigi's a clone of a petty criminal they found in the Poconos. They spent the time on facial reconstruction work and plastic surgery. They needed to conceal how they fucked up. What did he leak to the cops? He said a bunch of shit. Gonna be hard to pick a jury. No women. He's too cute. No Italians. Difficult in New York, but not impossible. No one who has any kind of experience with private healthcare. Impossible unless they can get like an 8-year-old. No one who likes the Lorax. Scratch the 8-year-olds. Yeah, no gay people either. He's a Charlie XCX fan. Recently watched Wicked. Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the quest for a fantastic future. Rated at 4 stars. Read from 10/4/2020 to 10/17/2020. 1984 George Orwell, 4 stars. Lorax, 5 stars. Hillbilly Elegy. Yeah, I saw this one. The Promise, Avatar: The Last Airbender. 4 stars. Born a Crime. Trevor Noah. Stories from a South African Childhood. 5 stars. And Hillbilly Elegy, 3 stars. Okay, I wouldn't have given it even 3 stars, but he wanted to know more about Zuko's mom. Okay, the people being like, oh, he wrote about like lower class Roman society and how they adopted Christianity. Yeah, dog, he wrote that shit when he was like 12 or 14. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck. What he wrote when he was 14, bro. Anyway. And no, I don't think he wrote that Matty Iglesias review. I think that's fake. But yeah, latest on the case is, oh God, they're literally fucking glazing the one cop that collared him. He's only been 6 months on the job. It's like, okay, dude, he didn't do shit. He just walked over after a tip and got this like scared guy and arrested him. Luigi Mangione will most likely be transferred to a Pennsylvania State Correctional Facility this evening, according to Josh Shapiro. Mangione faces 2 felony charges related to a firearm and false ID and 3 misdemeanors, 2 relating to a possession and a use of false ID and 1 relating to a possession of an instrument of a crime. Anyway. But yeah, the McDonald's, this McDonald's is full of rats. Food 1, service 1, atmosphere 1, 1 star. This location has rats in the kitchen that will make you sick, and your insurance isn't going to cover it. People are fucking mass spamming, review bombing the McDonald's where he got popped. What is this? Corporate America's asking for loyalty?
An email was just leaked from a help.
I don't know if this is real, man. I'm sorry. I need more. I need this. Whenever I see a narrative that is too good, I'm a little skeptical. Okay, chat? And you should be too. Like, sending me a TikTok of it does not actually prove this at all. If anything, it furthers my skepticism. Anyway. Yeah, fan edits coming in. They're already making fan cams of him. I feel bad. He like, it seems like he lost a lot of weight from his peak physical form. Serve, King. Anyway, Natty or Not subreddit is on the job here. Also, Taylor Lorenz went on Piers Morgan and let's see what she had to say.
Said in inferring that you were feeling joyful about what had happened to this guy. So we've got the clip and we'll just play it back just to remind you.
Mm-hmm. I do believe in the sanctity of life, and
wait, what the fuck? It's from the same broadcast? Ugh.
I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, you know, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not... No, certainly not empathy. This is literally...
So you felt joy? You
I'm
felt
so
joy.
glad that you played that clip, because you'll see that I didn't
And then
say
she
that
said
I felt
she
joy in the
misspoke
man's
and
death.
clarified.
Oh.
And I didn't say
You
that I
don't think,
felt
Mark,
joy in
it was
that
more
man's
that she
death?
wished she hadn't said she felt joy? Because
No.
she suddenly...
Ugh. Oy. Why is this kind of like smarmy clickbaiting, like quote combing so permitted on the right, but when leftists do it, everybody yells at them for being fucking annoying and being like woke scold SJWs. It's just like, it's so frustrating to see. Like, how come nobody ever fucking calls out the right for this shit when they're like, yeah, you're being an annoying little woke scold and not offering room for nuance in this conversation. Is your goal to have dialogue, or is it just simply to sit here and deflect the attention away from the primary concerns? I'm over here explaining what, I don't know, the broader population feels. But it seems like that's not something you want to have. That's not a conversation you want to have.
You realize how
Pierce,
bad it
why
sounded.
don't you listen to that clip again? Because I don't say that I feel joy in the man's death. I said, I feel joy because, and that's exactly when you cut me off. And if you let me finish,
Bullshit.
I would say, I feel joy.
Bullshit.
Oh, bullshit. Pierce, you don't know what was in my head.
That's not. She's right. She's right, Pierce.
Bullshit.
She actually said, I feel joy, and then you interrupted her there. Perhaps, I don't know what she was going to say, but she certainly didn't get a chance to finish.
Well,
finish
the viewers
thought.
can watch the whole thing in the right context.
And you
We
may
don't
not
censor
realize
things.
this, but
we don't
that's
censor things here. Mark, I don't know why you're going out of your way to defend her, mate. Because Taylor, let's be honest. You know what you said. You wish you hadn't said it. Let me give Taylor an opportunity.
I can tell you why, if you're actually curious. It's because when it happens to conservatives, they own the things they say, while leftists don't say the CEO is no better than a serial killer, which is the correct response. Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that is part of it. But also, there's a tendency on the left to also immediately disavow and condemn others who are ideologically on your side. That they're like, whoa, it's not. I don't agree with the fuck. It's fucking bullshit. There needs to be like some semblance of shamelessness that conservatives exhibit, I think, in this process. But ultimately, like, I get the broader point that she's trying to make. It's just like much more difficult to make that point when you got a guy like Piers Morgan, cutting, clipping, and shipping in real time.
Would you like to apologize?
This is also one of the issues that I have with debate culture in general, which is that it's rarely ever about like honest discourse with interlocutors that might have reasonable disagreements, but ultimately still respect for one another. And it's instead a shit-stirring contest. That's it.
Apologize for using the word joy.
Again, if you take the word joy completely out of context
It
from the
wasn't
word
taken
that
out
I
of
said
context. Would you like
it
to?
was because
would you like to
I'm so glad
apologize?
you just-
Yes.
Remember when the Queen died and you smoked that pack in front of Zoil? You should be smoking that CEO pack right now. I would never do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Once again, I'm simply someone who is talking about the overarching attitude that people have. What does this have to do with the right, though? I'm confused. Oh, Miss Riz is back, chat. I think it's because people like Taylor clutch their pearls all the time, so it gives Piers the opportunity to go after her when she says something like that. Hell yeah. Miss Riz is one of my favorites. The Queen. She's back and better than ever. Once we banned Sheltered Rosebud, someone had to take her place. Anyway. Saying the CEO is no better than a serial killer is completely unproblematic on a moral plane compared to the litany of racist and sexist shit like the right spews regularly, seemingly without pushback. Look at Trump. It's just a failure of counter-messaging against right-wing media that shapes the narrative around things like that. Yeah, but this is one of the few instances where, regardless of the right wing that normally is very good at reframing the narrative into a left-right dynamic, into camps that people already have like anger and resentment towards, and move the attention away from class dynamics that are that unite many people regardless of color, creed, age, or ideological backgrounds. This is one instance where people are like, nah, I don't really give a shit. Yeah, healthcare is pretty bad. I don't care that this happened. It's actually awesome that it happened. That's the attitude, at least, that a lot of people have towards this, if that makes sense. And I think ultimately a lot of these right-wing guys that are desperately trying to do their primary function, which is to move the attention away from the anger and resentment that people feel towards CEOs and for-profit healthcare, are kind of falling short of what is necessary because of the very glaringly obvious ways that people have been hurt by this industry.
So
Play
no.
the clip.
Yes or no?
You just played the clip that showed that
You
I
want to
said I feel joy
apologize?
because
Yeah, getting bogged down about what you said is exactly what Piers wants in this situation. And I understand that tendency to want to clarify your position. I get it. I'd be trapped in it. I find myself trapped in that same equation regularly.
and that's right when you cut me off.
Do you
So
want
let
to
me tell you
apologize?
what.
It's and I know this because I've been on Piers' show. That's why every single time I'm trying to make a point about, like, I don't know, the 700th time that Israel has like bombed a fucking a tent city filled with children, he still always finds a way to reframe the conversation back to, well, do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas for October 7? It's like, yeah, that's like at this point, the condemnations have happened a million times over. Piers, like, this is, you're just using it as an exit ramp. You're using it as a fucking parachute cord every time to stop the conversation dead in its tracks. You can make it seem as though you have a valid concern, and sometimes you can make it seem as though you are just simply hypocrisy fishing, right? But that is the purpose of a statement like that. Just like the purpose of a statement here in this process against the guest that you brought onto your show is not to have this meaningful conversation, but instead to simply move the conversation back to comfortable waters.
Why I feel joy. I feel joy because people like you, who are rich and powerful and on TV and have all the access to all the healthcare privileges in the world, are finally being forced to pay attention to the barbaric.
I mean, to be fair, Piers is British. So I think he benefits. I don't know if he lives in America or not, but I think even if he was to still be in England, he would benefit from the NHS.
Healthcare system that murders tens of thousands of innocent Americans. And that is what I feel joy in, that people like you are forced to confront those systemic problems.
It is a thought terminating cliche. That's exactly what it is.
That's what I'm joyful.
Yeah, I knew it would be my fault as well at some stage.
I knew it'd be my fault at some stage. Anyway, she did a good job of let the clip play. You cut her off more than Piers does. No, she turned it around. She redirected it back to Piers, which is good. Okay. Damn, this was a hit tweet. I've identified the McDonald's employee that snitched on the healthcare CEO shooter. 68K. Okay, Chatter. Chatter gave me a hit tweet. Respect. The 5 want the death penalty?
And good, he's got it. Now, he's a prep school kid. He's politically connected
You think
in
he's
Maryland.
ready for prison?
I don't think anyone's ready, Brian. Maybe you are, Brian, in a different way. But this guy's not
I'm Brian, kill me.
ready. He's way too soft. He's going to get annihilated on the inside. And good. If he's not going to get the death penalty, maybe someone will do him justice behind bars. That's all I have to say about that.
You should stop there.
Wait, what? He wants him to get the pedophile treatment in prison? What the fuck? Wait, what?
Way too soft. He's going to get annihilated on the inside. And good. If he's not going to get the death penalty, maybe someone will do him justice behind bars. That's all I have to say about that.
You should.
Oh my God. Damn, dude. What the fuck? They want this guy to be assassinated.
Should stop there.
Right. And
yeah, I think that I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they're not gonna hate on him too hard in prison. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I suspect he won't be regarded as a bad guy in prison. Like, I don't think that they will, you know, prisoners have immediate family members that are also that also experience the same problems, I think. All he did was shoot a guy. There's going to be like 50 other dudes who did the same. Yeah, also, he didn't just shoot any guy. Like, it was politically motivated. I don't think prisoners are going to be like as invested in bootlicking for fucking billionaires as you know, as Jesse Waters is. This is for the stakeholders, inmate says as he pulls out a shiv. Yeah. Even the guards have a grandma or a sister who struggle to get coverage for a basic medical need. Yeah. Will you donate to his commissary? I won't have to because he's going to walk free. My man is going to walk away free. Huh. Do we think that this will hurt the right media to any effective degree? No, they'll forget about it. The next time there's like a major story, people will immediate forget how Jesse Waters called for the extrajudicial prison assassination of the guy who killed a CEO, a for-profit healthcare CEO. I don't think that people will remember it. Some people will. Some people will lose faith, or maybe even like look at the likes of Ben Shapiro a little bit differently. You know what I mean? I think some people will look at Ben Shapiro and maybe even Tim Pool and others a little bit differently after this experience, where they'll be like, next time he says some shit that's a little off color, that is not aligned with my with the way I see the world, I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to be more cynical. But the 85-year-olds that watch Jesse Waters are not going to be like, "Who? I don't trust Jesse Waters anymore." They found his Twitch. Did you check if he subscribed yet? No, they did not actually find his Twitch. I think that's fake, chatter. You got duped. I don't think Live Agar raid. Hey, Live Agar. Thank you for the raid. Sorry for the repeated question. How many deaths do you think UHC is personally responsible for? I don't know. They are the number one at denials. They are the number one at denials in America out of all the American healthcare corporations. I think their denial rate is 34%. And the total number of people that die as a consequence of denials is, I believe, 45,000. So, like yearly. I mean, there's different estimates on this. The number varies. I've seen numbers as high as 65, and I've seen numbers as low as 10K. I've seen numbers as high as 65,000, and I've seen numbers as low as 10,000. But I think like you know, does that count people who die because they don't have insurance in general? Yes. Not having insurance in general, or having their coverage lapsed, or not or having their coverage denied, which is why some people refuse treatment. But yeah, the data on the United Healthcare denials are that they are the number one at denial. Oh, hell yeah. Tim Pool is pushing that it's not Luigi who is the assassin now. Yeah, Tim Pool is a little bit more in tune with like the conspiratorial right than even the likes of Ben Shapiro. So I can see him like trying to redirect the attention.